Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at wagertalk.com.
Welcome into the opening line report, NFL opening line report. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers each and every Monday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. We're getting you in the right position to be on the right side of some of these line moves in the NFL betting markets. My co-host here, Teddy Covers. Teddy, welcome in. Happy Monday morning to you, buddy.
Well, happy Monday morning, Drew. It's actually not that happy a Monday morning. I had a crappy day in the NFL on Sunday. I did bounce back with the winner on the Bills last night. There was no sweat. But by and large, the truth of it is this, Drew. There's going to be losing weekends. I just had one. Let's see if we can get things right this week when it comes to NFL Week 6 breakdown.
Absolutely. There is going to be losing weeks, guys, part of this business, but Teddy Covers 57% since 2015, beating the NFL betting markets. One of the best clips I've ever seen. So, Teddy, let's get into it. Actually, we're talking on Monday, so real quick at the top, to hit Monday Night Football, we get the Indianapolis Colts and the Baltimore Ravens. Looks like 46 and a half being the total. Ravens -7 here at home. We liking anything Colts and Ravens tonight real quick at the top?
So, in terms of a bet, I have no bet on the game. I will say this. If you like Baltimore, I would bet them right now at -7, 7.5 are starting to pop up. 7s with juice are starting to pop up. So if you like the Ravens, there is some urgency on that side. If you like the Colts, if there's an urgency on Baltimore, there's no urgency on Indy. Obviously, I would not be shocked to see 7.5s widely available for the Colts before kickoff. So there's urgency for Baltimore. If you like Indy, tap the brakes, wait till closer to kickoff.
Yeah, Teddy, good point there. Some of the prominent shops offshore, we're already seeing the hook on that 7. So, guys, if you're liking the Ravens, maybe sooner than later. We got the Thursday night action here, Teddy, talking about NFL opening line report style. Opening it up here, Tampa Bay Bucs, Philadelphia Eagles. We're seeing the Bucs -7-point road favorites. 51.5 Thursday nighter, Teddy. Short week for these teams. What are we liking at the top here? Thursday night opening line report.
So with all of these games, I'm going to go through the exact same process. I'm going to give you what the look ahead line was. That's a bettable line from last week before Sunday's games were played for these matchups. I use the numbers from the Westgate. Other books post them. The Westgate's the one I've always used. So I'm very comfortable using those Westgate numbers as a look ahead line. So we can see very clearly how much the markets have adjusted off of one game. I'm also going to give you my power rating number for all of these matchups. Tell you what my personal number is, and some of them there's a decent variance from what we're seeing from the points, and then we'll analyze the games, talk about where the number is going to go. When it comes to Tampa and Philadelphia on a Thursday night game, look ahead line: Tampa -6.5, 52.5. We're looking at 7s in the market today. My powering number is 7, and that is giving Philly a full 3-point home field edge, which is I start to do around this time of year for Thursday night football. And that might be the only 3-point edge that I give in the NFL at this stage. Mostly I'm giving 2s for home field advantage, but Thursday night I'm giving 3s for the home team, and that has my number with Tampa -7. Now it's worth noting, Tom Brady is a 44-year-old quarterback. The Bucs last year on the Thursday night game, they were bombed. Brady's quote, "We have a short week, quick turnaround. Last year we didn't do well on a short week. We got to put a lot into this coming game. We're playing against a good football team in Philly that's done some good things. It's a challenge." Brady's saying what he's going to say. And, of course, an Eagles defense that's been hit or miss in recent. Was hit yesterday. Boy, it did a done number on Carolina. They were all over Sam Darnold in that ball game. And there weren't a whole lot of open receivers downfield. But when you're facing, again, when you look at this Tampa roster, Mike Edmonds, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, who is one of the best receivers in NFL history, he's their slot guy. He's their third receiver. He gets the nickel corner. You got Gronk could be back. Yeah, Fournette Oh, actually, Gronk won't be back. But, it's, it's a loaded offense. And Tom Brady, of course, coming off a game in which he threw for more than 400 yards with 5 touchdowns in the same game for the first time in his 22-year career. We talked about what this offense is doing right now. Of course, defensively, they're missing all 3 the starting defensive backs, and they lost Levante David, their best linebacker in coverage, to an ankle injury yesterday. It's an Eagles team, after giving up, they gave up 76 points and 850 yards against the Cowboys and Chiefs, and rebounded yesterday. Nick Sirianni, quote, "It was the definition of a team win." The blocked punt being the key play in that ballgame. It's a definition of what we talk about with a dog mentality, because the offense wasn't going good for a long time in that game. In fact, the offense had more penalty yards at halftime than actual yards that they gained. Quote from Sirianni, "When they needed to make plays at the end, it was still tight. They made plays that we needed to make there." I'm worried about Tampa traveling on a short week. This is not a Bucs spot, and I remember last year Brady might have been his worst game. Brady needs that full week to go through his cryogenic therapy to get his 44-year-old body ready. The early money's come for the favorite to push it up to 7 everywhere. It's not going higher than 7. And if it's going anywhere, it'll come right back down. We may see some Philly money. The sharp books telling us this 7 might not hold, even though the early money has come for the road favorite in this one.
I love it, Teddy. Love doing this show with you, because right off the top, I would have thought the Bucs. You bring up Brown and how good he is as their third option. I believe he's the quickest to 900 receptions in the NFL. He had that big day yesterday, and sure enough, you're pumping the brakes on that and bringing up great points of Tom Brady on the short week. I do remember that last year. They did struggle, so watch out here, guys. Eagles actually might be taking the money before Thursday. We got top of the card on Sunday, Miami Dolphins, Jacksonville Jaguars. So battle for Florida here, Teddy. We're seeing the Dolphins -3.5 road favorites, 45 being the total. We're seeing 45 in the hook start to pop up. What are we thinking here with the Dolphins and Jags in North Florida?
Yeah, the money's come for the over in this ballgame. Look ahead line was Miami 2.5, 43.5. My powering number with Tua is Miami 2.5 in this ballgame. And we've seen nothing but Dolphins money from the opener. There were 3s last night. If we did this opening line report on Sunday night, I'd say, hey, get Miami now. The 3s aren't going to be there. Tua's going to play. And obviously that happened in the overnight hours. Money coming on the over as well. I know on this show, we do our best. And Drew, both you and I, to get in the comments section. And I really appreciate all the comments, guys. Thank you. For contributing to the show. But a couple of weeks ago, I came on air and said there's a big drop-off from Brissett to Tua. And the comments were like, no, there isn't. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. Yeah, there is. And the market is showing it. And we've seen it over the course of the last couple of weeks. Brissett, when you're a starting quarterback, Brissett got 3 different opportunities to start. You guys, opportunity to start in New England. You got an opportunity to start in Indy. You got an opportunity to start in Miami. And all 3 times he's gotten that opportunity, the team has immediately looked for other quarterbacking options. He's Tyrod Taylor. He's not a guy who's going to quarterback anyone to any great success. And Tua is better. But, Miami struggles yesterday. They look like the first year under Flores. And I downgraded them significantly last week, and I downgraded them significantly again this week. My numbers, I'm making it so that I'm not getting to Miami again, because I lost with Miami yesterday, and it was a really dumb bet. They were blown away at the line of scrimmage. They were in the ballgame briefly. And again, 9 rush attempts versus 42 dropbacks last week. They don't just align to run block at all. Brian Flores, we didn't execute our game plan defensively. We didn't do enough. We're out of sync. So here's an out of sync team going to London laying 3.5. And then this quote from Brissett really is not a bet on quote. It's a tough loss. We got to bounce back and move forward. Obviously, it's cliche, or it's early in the season, but the reality is we've got a lot of football ahead of us. That's not the quote I want. I want it. We're pissed. We looked way worse than we are, and we're going to turn this around right away. Not, oh, we're fine. We got a lot of football yet to play. That was a red flag quote. And I'll tell you what. The Jags have now lost 20 in a row. All right, James Robinson. You can't wrap your head around that. We got to find a way to win. We're a really good team. Obviously, our record doesn't show it, but we got a lot of great guys in the locker room, and we got to find something that works for us. Look, 13 of those 20 losses have been by double-digit margins, including their last 5 games at home. You don't want Jacksonville at home. In London, might be different. Of course, they had more injuries yesterday. The starting center, Miles Jack, got hurt yesterday, the stud linebacker. That being said, they outgained by Tennessee by almost 100 yards. They outgained it by nearly a yard per play in that time. Urban Meyer. I see a group of warriors. I see a group of players that I love to death. I see a group of players that are spilling it on the field and we're not getting it. We're not closing it out. I understand the money's come for Miami. Knee-jerk, Tua back in. Not my money. I'll put it that way.
Teddy, I second what you said there about Tua and Brissett. It was either 2 opening line reports ago or 3 whenever Tua went down. Mainly on Twitter, but also in the comments. You're right. People saying Brissett, not a drop-off. I totally agree with you. We both said it on air. Sure enough, we're starting to see that come to fruition. And Teddy, I think I teed this game up with you by saying in North Florida. You got that right. This is on the other side of the pond. But again, Teddy, it's not in Wembley. It's in Tottenham Stadium is what I'm seeing.
Yep.
We saw the first game last week there. Is there any difference in the handicap from Wembley to Tottenham after watching the Falcons and the Jets?
So Tottenham has a new surface, and the surface is supposed to be better. And certainly they got over the total in Tottenham this past weekend, even though it wasn't pretty. And the Jets' offense didn't do a whole lot. So, again, I don't what I've heard and what people have told me and what I've seen is that this is a better field. It's better for overs, and the early money is poured in on the over in this one. If you like the over, again, I don't know if it's going to go a whole lot higher, but you can still get 45 and a halves right now. I'm not convinced it's going to be there all week.
Teddy, next game up. Moving down the list, guys, in rotation order, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kick here. We got Houston and Indianapolis. We're talking the Texans and the Colts here, 42.5 or 43 being the total, Teddy. Minus 10-point favorite here. That's the Colts at home. This kind of rarefied air in terms of laying doubles for the Colts. You liking anything here, Teddy?
Yeah, and there was no look-ahead line on this ballgame. I think there were concerns about what was going on at both teams with the QB position. There was some talk that Tyrod Taylor may be back at some point. There was some talk that Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz wasn't good to go. So there was no look-ahead line. My powering number is 8.5. Obviously, if Indy gets blown out tonight, and this is a place where you can definitely make 2 bets. If you like Baltimore, you take Houston. If you like Indy, you take Indy twice. Because if the Colts look good, they're going to likely get market support. If the Colts look bad, they're going to likely get devalued. As a 1-win team going into week 6, those teams, the markets tend to crash on them. So it's an opportunity to make 2 bets if you have an opinion on tonight's ball game. And, I mean, Houston did some things yesterday that were really good. Haven't seen that level of aggressiveness from them. Davis Mills was chucking it downfield. He had 300 yards. They held the Pats 2-5 in the red zone. They won the turnover battle. They went 3 of 3 on 4th downs. And they still lost. They missed a field goal. They missed 2 extra points. They had the punt, the 0-yard punt, where Cameron Johnson's punt bounced off the back of his teammate. That led to what ended up being the game-winning, the 3-point field goal. Ended up being the game-winning field goal. And, Laramie Tunsil got hurt yesterday as well. The quotes coming out of Houston aren't perhaps as frustrated as you might think. Davis Mills, you don't want to lose football games ever, so it's a harsh feeling, but the guys rally together. We played how we wanted a lot during that game. We can learn from that and find ways to win. So they're saying the right things. David Culley, Davis protected the football. He was very good in the pocket. He ran our offense very well. We knew that going into the game, the most important thing to do was be able to protect the football, and he did that. But when Houston does everything right and still loses, I'm not convinced there's going to be a whole lot of markets for them. Again, my number is 8.5, and we're looking at 10s in the look-ahead markets right now. So my number is, but I've been off market on Indy a fair bit this year. I'm not surprised my number is a little bit lower than the markets on the Colts.
Teddy, moving down the list here. Next game up in the NFC North. We got rotation number 255, 256 here. Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears. Looks like the Packers -4 in the hook. There is a -5 out there in the marketplace in Las Vegas. 45 being the total. We liking anything here? Packers and Bears.
A look ahead line, Green Bay -4.5, total of 46. My powering number only is the Packers -3. I'll talk about why in just a second. The markets have pretty much been, they were 4.5 and 46 last night. We haven't seen a big change. There are a couple of 5s popping on this ballgame, but I'm not seeing the broader market moving in that direction. Obviously, we talk about the insanity of the late game / overtime with Green Bay and Cincinnati yesterday, with the Packers eventually getting the win after 3 different Mason Crosby missed field goals. Again, this is a guy that had missed 2 field goals the last 2 years, and he misses on 3 straight drives, a 36-yarder, a 51-yarder, and a 40-yarder, and they still won the game, which you have to look at the positive sign. However, when you start to look at the injury report for Green Bay, there's some ugly stuff going on. All right. They lost Elton Jenkins. 3rd week in a row he hasn't been played. He's a Pro Bowl guard. He's been filling in for David Bakhtiari, the Pro Bowl tackle, who's on the physically unable to prepare list. And then the rookie center, Josh Myers, is hurt. He missed the first game of the year season. You have injuries in the secondary, which Jair Alexander, Kevin King left in the second half. The best pass rushers, Darius Smith, is hurt. Packers are banged up right now. Yesterday was all Devontae Adams, and that was pretty much the offense to the pass catchers. And I've got concerns about that offensive line. And let's make fun of running backs again, right? Remember, David Montgomery's out. Oh, the Bears can't possibly win without Montgomery. I read a column last week talking about that. They couldn't possibly do it. Damian Williams and Khalil Herbert, they're not studs. They're not David Montgomery. They did just fine. And, of course, the Bears only 252 yards of offense yesterday here in Vegas against the Raiders. But the defense allowed 3 points from Vegas's first 7 drives and dominated that ballgame. This is a team that is capable of winning games defensively. It's not like the Bears got a great track record against Rodgers at Soldier Field. And the money more likely to come for the public Green Bay team than the we're not particularly excited about them Chicago team. But I don't see any urgency here to get to the window with the Packers and laying a premium on the road with a pretty banged up football team.
Absolutely, Teddy. Good start here, guys, to the NFL opening line report each and every Monday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Come join us in the chat box if you're watching live. We've got a bunch of people in here. Paul Blakeney coming to us from the other side of the pond. Welcome in, Pond, from Essex, England. We got Aaron Williams in the house, Garrick Williams, WSDJ, Richard in the house, MC, Rara, all you guys. Feel free to chime in. We got Tanking with Tua as well, and we'll try to answer any questions you guys got at the end of the show. And if you're watching on replay, guys, that works as well. Please smash that like button if you're liking the content, and feel free to comment below. Let us know what you're looking to bet. Hey, where maybe Teddy or myself got it wrong, where you disagree and where you agree with us. All of that is welcome in the comments below on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Teddy, next game up, we get the Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington football team. 55.5 being the total. We're seeing KC minus 6.5 point road favorites, guys. Also want to apologize just real quick. A couple of you guys noticing it in the chat box. We do have the graphics flipped up. So it is the Chiefs at the Washington football team. And I've noticed that for all the games. So just notice that. Go by what we're saying, not by what the graphic says. But Teddy, I'll throw it over to you. Kansas City Chiefs, Washington football team, minus 6.5. That's the Chiefs on the road. 55.5 being the total.
Yeah, and the truth of it is we're all human. So, the graphics are not going to be perfect every time. I'm not going to be perfect every time. Drew's not going to be perfect every time. We really appreciate, again, all the comments and feedback you guys get. And I don't mind at all. You disagree with me? That's fine. You want to tell me I'm wrong? That's fine too. But you want to tell me where we got it right? We appreciate that very, very much. Let's talk about KC and Washington. Look headline here. Chiefs minus 5.5, total of 54. My powering number is KC minus 7. And the markets this morning, we're seeing 6.5, and I'm not seeing the urgency that it's going to 7. Total of 55.5. Both teams coming off frustrating losses. Washington came into yesterday's game and they only had one takeaway all year. And they got takeaways yesterday, but it didn't matter. The defense isn't any good. The defense is wildly underachieving to the talent level. And at this stage of the campaign, we can't call this a good defense or even a decent defense. Washington's getting burned week in, week out. The Ron Rivera quote doesn't exactly inspire confidence. I think we lack a little bit of confidence right now. I'm very frustrated. The field position was an issue in yesterday's game. They started 3 drives inside their own 5 because of good punts, and then it means 2 punts back and a turnover on those 3 drives. They didn't get anything from them. But Taylor Heineke's another guy who we have to have some concerns about right now. As he's not someone that was ever projected to be an NFL starter. He got the job due to injury. He had some success, like many quarterbacks can, coming off the bench or playing a couple of games. But once you start seeing films on guys like Heineke all of a sudden, sometimes the production goes down, and we're seeing that from Washington of late. As for KC, I mean, it's turnovers now. Twice in the last 3 games, they've been -4 in turnovers. Mahomes talking after the game, he was really frustrated. I've got to do better. Defensively, gashed again yesterday. Andy Reid talking about the defense. They're embarrassed by it. Again, Josh Allen completed 7 passes in the first half for 219 yards and 2 scores. So Reid's quote, they're embarrassed by it. We have to do better. Josh Gordon has the potential to be a real impact player for KC. He's not someone that's going to move the needle on the markets just yet. And he didn't have an impact last night. The guy's been suspended 6 times. He had 1 catch for 11 yards. But KC needs wide receiver depth. And if they get Josh Gordon going, that team's going to be even better. Chiefs with urgency versus Washington with urgency. It's not like KC's covering a lot of numbers. Their defense is the type of defense you feel good about laying these prices on the road, but I'm not convinced the Washington football team can stop Kansas City in a game unless the Chiefs are turning it over.
Another 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kick here, Teddy, moving down 259-260. Minnesota Vikings at the Carolina Panthers. We're seeing the Panthers short home favorites pretty much across the board, Teddy, at the -1 number, 46 being the total. Vikings at Panthers, Teddy, -1. That's the Panthers at home.
So we're going to have 2 doodly-oops today, and this is going to be one of them. Doodly-oop.
Doodly-oop. Doodly-oop. Emergency betting alert. Doodly-oop. Doodly-oop.
This is the Carolina spot. They're going to get Christian McCaffrey back. The money's going to come for the Panthers. It's -1 now. Leading indicator program. I don't know if it's going to go up to 3, but McCaffrey was questionable to play. Now he's going to play, or it's likely. There was talk he was going to play this last week. The market's expecting to play this week. Once he gets announced as in, I would anticipate we'll see at least some Carolina money. Look at it was only 1 in 48. My powering number is only 1. The markets are at 1, and yet I still expect this number to go up. Sam Darnold coming off his worst game in Carolina. The offensive line is coming off their worst game. The offensive line allowed 18 pressures on 37 dropbacks. Matt Rule, there were guys open, and we got to make those throws. Carolina absolutely dominated Philly for about a half yesterday, but they didn't put the points on the board to show for that domination. And then they made all kinds of breakdowns in the second half. Mistakes, penalties, miscues, drop passes, bad reads, bad defensive assignments. It didn't look like a Matt Rule coach team in the second half of that ball game. Markets likely to expect a little bit of bounce back. And, of course, for Minnesota, the offense hasn't scored a second-half touchdown in the last 4 games. They almost lost to the Lions at home yesterday. It's not like Minnesota feels like a team that's about to turn the corner right now. Adam Thielen, quote, "We aren't happy with our performance, but at the end of the day, we got to enjoy a win. We got to still use it as momentum." I'm not necessarily getting that sense from Minnesota. Like I said, I do expect at least some Carolina money to show. Of the 2 emergency betting alerts on this show, this is the lesser of the 2. The second one is around the key number of 3.
All right, guys, we'll have to hang tight here for the big emergency betting alert coming shortly in the show, as we got the LA Chargers and Baltimore Ravens as the next game up. Teddy, again, 1 a.m., 10 a.m. Pacific kick here. We're seeing 50.5 as the total, -3, actually mostly -3 in the hooks now. That's the Baltimore Ravens. And, of course, with the Ravens playing tonight in Monday Night Football, a bit of a limited marketplace. But, Teddy, we got the Chargers and Ravens -3.
Yeah, now it opened 3 and 48.5. Now we're seeing basically 3 and 3.5, and the total's been bet up to 50.5 for this one after the Chargers. Insane. The shootout yesterday. My powering number comes to 3.5. I call it 3.25 or 3.25, which I tend to put out as I grade as 3 -20. But it's right in that 3.5 range for Baltimore. And obviously, we'll see if the Ravens look good tonight, the number will be 3.5. If the Ravens look bad tonight, it'll be 3 or less. So certainly, the teams that look good on Monday Night Football tend to have a carryover effect the following week when it comes to their point spreads. Now, it's a Chargers team that has had issues against the run, and they got gashed for 230 yards on the ground yesterday. So they've had problems. And, of course, one thing you don't want against Baltimore is problems stopping the run. And another thing you don't want against Baltimore is kicker problems. The Chargers clearly, once again, have kicker problems. Tristan Vizcaino missed 2-point afters that would have made for a very less stressful ending, whichever side you had in that ball game. Chargers with some defensive woes, Baltimore without those defensive woes, and the market's likely to respond to that. As good as Herbert's been, this time of year, the markets start kicking in, and the wise guys look for defensive teams. And the Chargers right now not putting together defensive numbers that are going to impress the betting markets.
Teddy, next game up, we get Cincinnati at Detroit. Fascinating handicap here, Teddy. We're seeing the Bengals -3 in the hook, road favorites, 48 or 49, depending where you're shopping, being the total. Bengals at the Lions. Bengals -3 in the hook, road favorites in the Motor City, Teddy.
Yeah, and the look headline was Cincinnati -3.5, total of 49. My powering number is Cincinnati a little bit higher at 4. The markets put them out at 3.5 and 48. Now, of course, you want to lay 3.5 for the Bengals. Don't forget, 4 of their 5 games this year decided by exactly a field goal. And they fall into a negative subset of teams off an overtime loss going on the road and laying points. You want to, you look at negative sample sizes. That's a negative one. Joe Burrow went to the hospital after the game last night with a possible throat contusion. The rookie kicker, Evan McPherson, who'd hit 2 game winners already, obviously missed a couple yesterday. And the one where he was celebrating on and it missed, it's like, no, dude. A gust of wind, he claimed. Figured out. Though, and there was, it was very gusty, which again has you scratching the decision of your 4th and inches or 4th and 1. You can attempt a long field goal, or you can try to push and get a yard against the Tire defense and maybe get a shorter field goal. Zach Taylor, positive quotes about the chemistry for Cincy after the game. Quote, I know exactly what kind of football team we have now. They took punches and they punched back. Devontae Adams, Packers receiver. I always love the quotes from the opposing team. Quote, they're not the old Bengals that everyone expects to roll over. So, positive signs for Cincy, but again, you're not laying you're laying a price for the team that's winning games by field goals. And of course, Jared Goff saying the exact same thing that he's been saying. Goff, by the way, now with 81 turnovers since 2016, 3rd most of any player during that span. And they rallied late again yesterday, and found a way to lose it late on another defensive meltdown. Jared Goff, it's as hard as it gets in this league to do stuff like that and try to bounce back from it. I say that every week. We got a resilient bunch who will bounce back. I forget what I said. I said Indy might have the weakest receiving core in the NFL. And then someone gave me the comment and said, no, it's Detroit. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And the Lions lost another weapon. They don't have many. Quintus Cephas got hurt yesterday. We'll have to check his status. An impact injury for a team that doesn't have a whole lot of quality receiving weapons. In terms of where the money's going to go, again, the Bengals win games by field goals. Detroit's not going to take a whole lot of money. I see this line sitting where it's sitting for the indefinite future.
Teddy, last 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kick here. We get the LA Rams making the cross-country trip here to face the New York Giants. This is rotation number 265, 266, guys. We are seeing the Rams making that long trip, being bet up, Teddy. I'm seeing them 10 in the hook now. Road favorites, 47.5 being the total. What are we thinking here? Rams at the Giants.
So look at line was only 6.5 and 50. My powering number is 9. And the markets are even more than that. But look, the Giants injury report, I talked about the Packers being a banged up team. The Giants is worse. Okay. I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to play. And again, Glennon was okay as a backup. They were confident with Glennon. Glennon was chucking it up there. They're having to throw out of his own end zone. But Glennon in the red zone makes mistakes. Real dicey. And Glennon's going to allow opposing defenders to make plays. There's a reason he's a backup, not the starter. So we'll have to see what the status is with Daniel Jones. But it's not just Jones. Left tackle, Andrew Thomas. Wide receiver, Sterling Shepard. Left guard, Shane Lemieux. Center, Nick Gates. Running back, Saquon Barkley. Wide receiver, Kenny Golladay. And there's other guys as well. 7 of their 11 offensive starters from week 1 could be out this week. Joe Judge, quote, our guys are going to keep playing. That's not going to be a question in terms of the next man up mentality. There were a lot of good examples yesterday, on guys stepping up, playing different roles, and making plays. Yes, and you lost by 24. Giants are very for the betting markets to attract money to, and we're going to see prices like this against them. From a powering standpoint, they're at the bottom of the NFL right now. They're right there with Jacksonville. As long as the injury report looks like this, the Giants are a team that you're going to see the markets react significantly. And, of course, the Rams under McVay have been real good on the East Coast and no problem with the early start 10 o'clock games. So Maybe not in a Rams spot, perhaps. That might be something of a concern here. But from a fundamental matchup, very banged up Giants team against a Rams team that's really strong in the trenches is not a matchup that favors the home underdog.
And Teddy, just real quick, if nothing here, the downgrade from Danny Dimes to Glennon, is it anything at all? Is it a big one?
Oh, it's at least a couple of points, maybe more than
Okay.
that. You know, I would. So I didn't downgrade just based on the one injury. I downgraded based on all the injuries. You know, but
Right.
I would probably make it a 2.5, 3-point drop off just on the one injury.
Okay.
Just in terms of the quarterback.
Okay. And heading to the 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific kicks here. Arizona at Cleveland. Next game up, guys. This is a good one as well. 50.5 being the total, Teddy. We're seeing Cleveland, the Browns. It's surprising to me to see them favored. -2.5 here at home over the Arizona Cardinals. What do you like in here, Teddy?
Yeah, this would have been a doodly-oop game last night. The threes were out there. They're not anymore.
Yeah.
The Browns gained 7 point. The look headline was Cleveland 3 and 53.5. My powering number is 2.5, and the markets are at 2.5 and 54 this morning. So I'm not anticipating. You know, it's going to bounce. It could bounce back to 3. I'm seeing 2.5 with juice, but I'm not seeing a whole. The injury report is going to tell a lot because Cleveland's another team that has horrible injury problems. But they gained 7.8 yards per play. They scored 42 points. They had 230 yards on the ground at 6.6 yards per carry. They had 0 turnovers, and they lost. NFL's been around a long time. They're the first team in NFL history to lose a regular season or a playoff game when scoring 40-plus with 500 yards and no turnovers. Stefanski was brilliant yesterday in terms of play calling for Cleveland. Brilliant. The entire game, their play calling was perfect until the last 2 guys were the game on the line, and then you're like, what are you doing, dude? You know, you're not doing what worked for you all game. And then you look at the injuries. All right. Greg Newsome didn't play. Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams both left in the first half and didn't return. Both starting tackles are out. Jack Conklin got hurt. He didn't play the whole back end of the game. So that's a top 3 corners and both tackles, and that could be a problem for anybody. For Arizona yesterday, I mean, look, they were out of sync the whole game. And I'll tell you what, last week I came on the show and said, there's no way they're going to be flat. There's somewhere they're going to be flat because they came off that win against the Rams. They were flat as a pancake yesterday. Never in sync. And still found a way to win it, which is impressive coming off a bad performance. You know, Zach Allen, quote, I think it was good for us to kind of prove we could win a gritty game like that. The defense could win them a game. But again, and Arizona, since Murray took over as the quarterback in 2019, they are 0 over when scoring less than 24 points. And only got to 17 yesterday and won and covered. Of course, it's a defense now that, you know, is winning games. However, from an injury report standpoint, they lost their starting center, Rodney Hudson, impact injury. The tight end, Mac Williams, impact injury. 2 starting cornerbacks, Byron Murphy and Marco Wilson, both hurt. That's a concern. All those injuries are a concern. Hudson's a big one for Arizona. So this is one where you want to watch the injury report. The market's likely to pay attention to the injury report to determine whether this line is going to hold at 2.5 or 3 when it comes to Sunday.
We got the 4:30 kicks next up. 269-270 here. Las Vegas at Denver. I'm just taking a stab. This is the next doodly-oop. I might be wrong, though, guys. 44.5 being the total. Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. Broncos -3. There is a couple 3.5s out there, Teddy. Throw it over to you at the Raiders and Broncos. What are we thinking here?
You knew already, Drew. You know what's up. Let's get it going. Doodly-oop, doodly-oop, doodly-oop.
Emergency betting alert. Doodly-oop. Throw it over to you, Teddy. Yep, this is it. I was right. 3.5, guys. Listen up.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you want Denver, get them now. This line's going to 3.5. The markets aren't going to like the Raiders after what we've seen the last 2 weeks from Vegas. And, of course, that was the worst game the defense has played this year under Fangio for Denver. The offense was pretty bad, just 1 of 10 on third downs midway through the fourth quarter. They missed Jerry Jeudy, certainly. Kyle Fuller, the cornerback, got targeted over and over again, although Ronald Darby could be back this week for Denver. 3 times the Broncos had their chance to have an interception. 3 times they dropped it. You had Javonte Williams ripping off a 49-yard run that he thought was a touchdown, and then he spikes the ball at the 1 and end up getting only a field goal. Listen to the urgency quotes from Denver. There's maybe a first half wager this week. Teddy Bridgewater, quote, "We can't wait till the game is out of hand to have a sense of urgency." Vic Fangio, quote, "We've got to obviously start better. We can't try to catch up being down as much as we were and try to get some first downs on offense. Stop some passes on defense. Run, play the run better, etc." Melvin Gordon, quote, "If we want to be who we want to be, we just can't start out slow, wait till we get in a hole, and then try to put it together at the end. This is the National Football League. It's too hard. There's clearly a sense of urgency for Denver." Now, in theory, there's supposed to be a sense of urgency for the Raiders as well, off the back-to-back losses. The problem with the Raiders, all the talk about what happened, Gruden's email from 2011 that just became public and had some stuff that is, has left him with charges of racism. And it's real interesting to note the quotes from that Raiders locker room, because we've seen a lot of quotes. Eric Carr's like, "Oh, he doesn't have a racist bone in his body. We all know that. It's fine." And then you get Yannick Ngakoue, who signed with the free agent this spring, and he says, "No comment on that." And that one stood out to me a little bit. It's not, "I'm going to defend my coach." It's no comment. That's concerned me for the Raiders. And of course, the Raiders were a team that overachieved early. It's a Raiders offense that's falling apart. It's a Raiders offensive line that doesn't match well against Denver. I'm anticipating Broncos money. If you like the Broncos, bet them sooner rather than later. The Raiders, they feel a little train wrecky right now, and the markets are not going to jump in on Vegas until they win a game. I can tell you that for sure.
Sure. Good stuff, Teddy. And I agree with you. This Raiders team hasn't been the same for the last, 2, maybe even 3 weeks. We are seeing -3 at South Point in Las Vegas. DraftKings showing a -3 as well. Caesars bet on, or a couple offshore books showing 3 -120. So they do exist out there, guys. As Teddy
just real quick,
breaking
Drew,
it down. Yeah.
Just real quick, I don't think I gave out the look. The look-ahead line on that game was 2.5 for Denver and 44. My powering number is 3. And the market's obviously at 3 -20 right now. I do expect a 3.5 across the board in the not too distant future.
Yeah, that's the emergency betting alert. The second one, the big one there from Teddy Covers. Check them out, Wager Talk or sportsmemo.com. Guys, all sports 60%. The last 3 weeks is 5% big tickets, 13-5, 72% since May. We got college football up 60% since November of 2020. And my favorite stat here, guys, NFL, he's 236 and 182. That's 57% since week 1, 2015. So long-term track record there, guys. Beating the NFL betting markets at a 57% clip. Check them out at Wager Talk or Sports Memo. Experts page. Teddy Covers. 2 games left on Sunday. Then we'll quick hit the Monday nighter for next week. We get Dallas at New England, Teddy. We're seeing the Cowboys taking some money. -4-point road favorites. 49.5 being the total here, Teddy.
Yeah, and honestly, we could doodle-oop this because it's all Dallas money right now. The fours, was 3. Look ahead line was Dallas 1, total of 48. My powering number is Dallas 2.5, and I got Dallas as a Super Bowl contender. I got them right with the elites. My powering number is 2.5. The markets, 3.5. Last night we're seeing 4s and even 4.5s today. So the markets, again, this is Dallas' 4th straight win. It's not like they have a history of long winning streaks in the Dak Prescott era. Last year they didn't win their 4th win until week 14. And Prescott got lucky a little bit yesterday. He threw a play that could have been a pick, and then it got dropped, and the next play he throws a touchdown. These receivers don't miss much, though. Dallas has some downright scary skill position talent, but what do the Patriots do? What does Belichick do? We saw them face an elite offense at home a couple weeks ago when Tampa Bay came to town, and that game was ugly, and Belichick uglied it up, and it stayed under, and the Patriots covered. You're not getting the same point spread value, perhaps, with Dallas, 4.5, whereas New England was a touchdown favorite in that ballgame, or close to it. And let's give the Patriots some credit. The quotes coming out of yesterday were all about how good Mac Jones was. They were down double digits in the second half of that ballgame. Henry Hunter. I feel like really good balance today. And Mac stood back there in the pocket really strong. He's tough. It says a lot to for the older guys who've been around to be that young and standing there and fire the ball. It gives a lot of confidence to the receivers, the tight ends, and the offensive linemen too. Belichick, quote, Mac's been good for us all year in terms of his leadership and resilience. We're counting on him to do the right thing, and he's doing it at a high level. Mac Jones, sometimes you have to find a way to win. It feels better to not play as well, but win and learn at the same time than play okay and end up losing. The win feels good. And this just tells you how much the NFL has changed. All right. Burrow, who has not been, or Jones, who has not been chucking the ball around all over the place. 23 of 30 yesterday. He now has 135 completions this season. And that ties for the most completions by a rookie quarterback in his first 5 starts in NFL history. That speaks to how the game has changed. It's a passing game now. And that, once again, tells us that running backs don't matter. All that being said, Dallas is going to be flavor of the week. The Cowboys are likely to take money, no urgency. If you like the New England side of the equation in this one, no urgency. If you like the under in this one, the Cowboys and over certainly correlate with that explosive-looking offense.
2 games left, guys. If you have any questions, fire them away. We'll hit them quickly before we shut it down. Now's the time to ask the questions in the chat box on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Also, feel free to comment below in the comments section, and we'll answer them throughout the week. Teddy Covers and myself, Drew Martin here. We got Sunday Night Football, Teddy. Seattle Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers getting a much-needed win this past week. Can they carry it over? Well, they're going to have to win by margin, Teddy. -5 point favorites at home at most shops right now. Looking at the Wager Talk odds screen, Russell Wilson obviously out here for the Seahawks. That's a big loss. 42 being the total. What are we thinking here, Teddy? Seahawks and Steelers.
So how much is Russell Wilson worth, and how much is Pittsburgh worth now that they've saved their season? I mean, really, yesterday's win was a season saver. If they win this week, they get back to 500. If they lose yesterday, they go to 1-4, and you can start mailing it in on Pittsburgh. So they saved their season yesterday. Look headline was Seattle -2.5. Total of 48. My powering number is Pittsburgh 4. The markets were at 4 last night. We're seeing 4.5s and 5s today. And the money's going to continue to come for Pittsburgh because obviously what we just see, the Steelers just look good. But more than Pittsburgh, and look, Pittsburgh, there were a lot of things to like about what they did yesterday. Their defense is good enough to keep them in ball games even when the offense isn't working. Although a couple of key injuries. Juju Smith-Schuster goes to the hospital after the game yesterday. Devin Bush leaves in the third quarter. That's a big injury on the defense side of the ball. But the balance was there. 35 rushes compared to 25 passes. That's what Pittsburgh wants to do. And Roethlisberger, the 25 pass attempts, his fewest this year. The offensive line played well for the Steelers. And for Seattle, this defense has now allowed 450 yards in 4 straight games. That's tied for the longest stretch in NFL history. Cornerbacks are getting burned. Pass rush isn't there. And Russell Wilson being out. And look, Geno Smith is 12-19 in his career as a starter. And Geno Smith, I really thought we had a chance, and I thought we were going to come back and get it done against LA. Unfortunately, we didn't. Not an easy defense to go up against here. And Russell Wilson, to say he's synonymous with Seattle, not only has he missed a game since his first week 1 of the 2012 season, he hasn't even missed a practice because of injury. His only practice he missed 2 practices, both for funerals in his career. So this is uncharted territory for Seattle. They're not likely to get market support. They're like the Steelers. Again, there's still 4.5s out there. I'm not convinced they're going to be there by kickoff.
Teddy, last game up, the Monday Nighter here. We'll hit it quickly, then hit the chat box for any questions. Buffalo at Tennessee, Monday, October 18th. We got -5 or -4.5, depending where we're shopping here. That's the Bills as the road favorite. 53.5 to 54.5 being the total. I got to think the Bills are going to take money here, Teddy. Am I wrong?
We worry about the spot for Buffalo. It's not like Tennessee is
Okay.
Complete garbage. And the Bills are coming off a win that they had triple, quadruple circled. Although I'll read some quotes in a minute that may mitigate that. Look at the headline. Look at headline with Buffalo -2.5. Tennessee won and covered yesterday. All right. So the markets are certainly telling you yesterday was now we're going to give them respect win for the Bills. My powering number on this game is Buffalo -5. Tennessee's got defensive issues. Gashed by Jacksonville yesterday. Again, they gave up almost 7 yards. They were outgained by nearly a yard per play by the Jags. Robinson with 18 carries for 149 yards and a touchdown against them. And bunch of injuries for Tennessee. Cornerback Christian Fulton, linebacker Rashard Evans, starting guard Roger Saffold, the linebacker Monty Rice, all left yesterday's game with injury. So all those make the points that we may well see Buffalo money here. Bills outgained the Chiefs 8.1 yards per play to 5.0. They were +4 in turnovers. They forced those turnovers because they stymied that offense. Josh Allen after the game, quote, "I think this is going to be made a bigger deal than it is. We're in week 5, 4 wins to get to the playoffs. We ended up with a win. That's our goal each and every week. Come out, be resilient through lightning delays. I'm proud of how our team handled the situation." Emmanuel Sanders, quote, "We're going to enjoy it on the plane back. You can tell me I'm enjoying it out there. I lost my voice screaming. But at the same time, it's not like we won the Super Bowl. It's week 5. We have to get back to work." So the Bills are saying the right things when it comes to the level of focus this week. And McDermott's teams have been pretty good at avoiding the letdowns. As you mentioned, the early money has come for Buffalo. There may well be more Bills money. There's not a whole lot of respect for Tennessee amongst the wise guys. That's a team that sharp money is looking to fade at this stage of the campaign.
He's Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Betts. Guys, that does it for the NFL opening line report, hitting each game for this upcoming week. We do this every Monday, Teddy, we got to hit the chat box though real quick. Rapid fire here. Bam Golf asking, Drew, Teddy, can you talk about some things you look for when you look to bet a favorite that is behind early and when the optimal times are to bet on them? Of course, talking live betting, Teddy. I always look to, in baseball and in football, when the opposing team scores, that's when I look to bet on a team I'm looking to bet on live. Are you any different?
Sure. I agree 100%. And we got a great a couple of questions on Twitter. One in particular that someone's calling me out. It's like, you guys got to talk about watching the games and how you bet when watching the games versus the guys that don't watch the games. And there are guys there are guys that are stat-based handicappers that are quote-based handicappers, and it's about formulas that spit out law, that have over the years produced positive expectation results. I have nothing against that. That's not my style. I'm a guy that wants, I learn a lot from watching the games. You can, so many quotes you can read and so many stats you can look at, and so many box scores are misleading and lying in one way or another. When it comes to betting in game, it absolutely is a big piece of the equation. And the times to do it are when the things look worse. That's when you're getting your maximum value on whatever team you want to back, is when things that they just turned it over deep in their own territory. Boom. That's your time to bet on them. The other team, hey, hold them to a field goal. Guess what? You got the best of it. And now you get the ball back. Boom, you got the best of it. If you expect your team to make a comeback. Now, in terms of the nuances of figuring out which teams are going to come back and which teams aren't, for me, that's a lot spot related. In the bad spots, the teams don't always come back. In the good spots, they tend to. So that would be the broader picture look at that. Excellent question.
We got Paul asking, guys, love the show. Question, how do you stop yourself from falling in love with the team and bias in your betting? Paul, it's very simple for me. When I start losing, I don't like to lose money, so that's when I usually hop off. Teddy, do you have anything different in terms of stopping the biases?
Yeah, so I was so mad at myself. I did not have a great day in the NFL yesterday. The only thing I got right was Buffalo. But there was one play that I put out that I bet that I felt like I was mad. I was really mad at myself. That it should have been on the cutting room floor. I should not have gotten the window with Miami yesterday. And I was annoyed at myself. And I felt like I had inherent bias where I was just looking to, that Tampa's overvalued in this spot, and this is Miami's come to play game. It doesn't matter. The matchups don't work for Miami. And I had to be able to recognize that before kickoff and not make the bet. And I didn't. So it happens to the best of us. Okay. Everybody's human. Nobody's perfect. All right. These guys playing football aren't perfect either. It's about responding to adversity. It's about, taking a punch and punching back. Sometimes you're going to be wrong. The goal is not to make it too many times. I don't know if I answered that question, Drew. Did I?
Yeah. You answered good. Two more here, Teddy, just to end it. I'll ask them both. If you have anything on both. Teddy, how much consideration, if any, do you put into recent history between the two teams for your handicapping? And also, Kip asking, can you discuss any trends on the unders for Thursday night games if there's an advantage?
So in terms of series history, it's something I don't look at by Monday morning. So that's why I never talk about it on the show. Because again, between Sunday night and Monday morning, getting the show ready, getting notes on all these teams, it's a process. And one of the things I don't do, don't have time to do, is to go through the series history. For divisional matchups, it matters a lot. It's certainly something I'm going to look at every week. In terms of the teams that play each other once every few years, it doesn't matter as much. But divisional games, you want to know who won last year, how they win last year. You want to go through those play-by-plays, see how those games played out. To help you with the approach for the team. What was the second question, Drew?
It was
sorry,
I don't have it in front of me anyway.
Thursday night
unders. The trend.
Yeah. So you asked about Thursday night unders, and frankly, I know there's an angle out there. I don't have it at the top of my head. I will do my best to find it and put that in their comments on YouTube, because I know there's something, but I don't have it right here. And if I search for it live, it'll take me a minute. So that makes for bad air. But I'll do my best to post it.
Absolutely. A huge shout out to the chat box, guys, for joining us live. And guys, please ask any questions below in the comments. Teddy and myself will be in there answering them throughout the week. Teddy, any kind of closing thoughts before we shut this down?
Yeah. Enjoy the night. Good luck tonight. And good luck this week. And thanks again for all the comments. I really appreciate all the feedback, all the likes, all the follows. If you like the show, again, please tell your friends. We had fewer views last week than the week before, and that makes me mad. I worked just as hard last week on this show, and I thought I'd give out good info. So please, if you like the show, tell your friends. Help us help you make this show part of your process every single Monday. Good luck tonight. Good luck this week.
Cash those tickets, guys. We'll be back next Monday, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Come back and join us here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Please smash that like button on your way out and comment below, guys. Best of luck with your bets. Thanks for tuning in.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at wagertalk.com.